Chris Pratt was once hailed as the down-to-earth, comedic everyman who suddenly morphed into a chiseled Hollywood A-lister. From goofy roles in sitcoms to blockbuster leading man, his success story seemed almost too good to be true. Fans adored him for his infectious laugh, irresistible charm, and sweet public persona, especially when paired with Anna Faris, a comedian and actress who matched his humor beat for beat. Yet, if you pull back the curtain, you'll discover rumors of hidden insecurities, heartbreak, and a marriage that quietly unraveled under intense scrutiny. How did a couple that radiated warmth and comedic chemistry become fodder for some of Hollywood's most shocking rumors? And was the real Chris Pratt buried beneath that carefully polished image? Buckle up for a journey through a romance that started like a fairy tale and ended with countless unanswered questions. Because beneath every glossy photo shoot and sweet Instagram post, a deeper, more complicated story was beginning to emerge. It all began on the set of a modest comedy film called Take Me Home Tonight. Anna Faris was already recognizable for her razor-sharp comedic timing, courtesy of the Scary Movie franchise and other comedic hits. Chris Pratt, still striving for his big break, was playing a lovable side character, something that came naturally to him. Sparks flew almost immediately, according to insiders on set. Anna's then-husband, Ben Indra, quickly took a backseat in the drama that was unfolding, especially when Anna admitted she felt a pull toward Chris that couldn't be denied. Just 1 month into filming, Anna and Ben separated. By the time Anna's divorce was finalized in early 2008, Chris had stepped in as the new leading man in her life. Some whispered that it was a whirlwind romance, maybe too fast for comfort, but the couple's chemistry seemed undeniable. They didn't waste any time taking things public, and soon enough, they made their union official with a low-key but intimate ceremony in 2009. Like a rom-com unrolling in real life, there was enough humor and heart between them to make fans swoon. He was goofy, she was quirky. Together, they felt unstoppable. Yet early on, a few folks noticed the speed of Anna's pivot from one marriage to the next. Could that hint at cracks forming even before the wedding bells rang? In Hollywood, these romantic leaps often become cautionary tales. But at this point, everything seemed perfect. It was the start of a romance that felt plucked straight out of a lighthearted comedy. Though it wouldn't take long before the script took a darker turn. Life in Hollywood doesn't move at a gentle pace, especially when fame decides to strike like lightning. By 2013, Chris Pratt was no longer the slightly pudgy comedic sidekick many remembered from Parks and Recreation. He transformed into a bona fide leading man, sculpted physique, million-dollar smile, and the star of blockbuster hits like Guardians of the Galaxy and Jurassic World. His career skyrocketed almost overnight, and he found himself juggling press tours, promotional events, and physically demanding film shoots around the globe. But these new opportunities came at a price. Anna, for her part, had achieved a steady level of recognition in Hollywood, yet she often voiced insecurities about her place in an industry obsessed with youth and glamour. Despite her comedic talents and a track record that included successful films and her own popular podcast, Anna wrestled with feeling she didn't quite belong. Now, add in a husband who was catapulting to the highest echelons of stardom, and you can sense the brewing tension. Distance became a staple in their marriage. While Chris flew off for weeks, sometimes months, at a time, Anna was left to manage life alone, including the care of their newborn son, Jack. Red carpets and talk shows might paint a picture of unwavering support and comedic banter. But under that spotlight, real communication issues were bubbling. Anna's friends worried that she kept so much inside, unwilling to air her concerns about Chris's changing lifestyle and the swirl of rumors that inevitably follows any attractive Hollywood star. And for Chris, it might have been easy to get lost in the adrenaline rush of new success, shrugging off those nagging doubts at home. Could there be cracks beginning to show in that seemingly perfect facade? It didn't help that the media machine was warming up to a brand new rumor mill, especially once Chris started pairing up on screen with some of Hollywood's hottest leading ladies. What was once a playful story of two comedic actors in love began morphing into a tabloid free-for-all. Hollywood loves nothing more than an on-screen love story that spills into real life. And that's exactly the narrative the tabloids latched onto when Chris Pratt starred in Passengers opposite Jennifer Lawrence, fresh off her acclaim from the Hunger Games and Silver Linings Playbook. The pair's natural chemistry during press junkets, late-night interviews, and promotional tours sparked speculation that there was more simmering beneath the surface. whispers that Chris and Jennifer were flirting non-stop, that they spent 16 to 17 hours together each day on set, and that Anna should be worried. It didn't matter that official statements dismissed these allegations. The damage was done. Anna later revealed in her memoir how these rumors cut her deeply. She tried to brush them off as baseless gossip, but the seeds of doubt had been planted. Even if Chris reassured her, insecurities don't vanish overnight when the rest of the world is watching with a critical eye. Jennifer Lawrence, for her part, apologized to Anna, something Anna publicly stated wasn't even necessary. She insisted Jen had done nothing wrong, but the swirl of suspicion continued to gather speed. Anna admitted she had never felt so embarrassed and insecure, especially when the paparazzi circulated photos of Chris and Jennifer laughing behind the scenes. Anna's publicist even warned her in advance that these images would likely surface, giving the story a life of its own. Media outlets loved painting Chris as the lovable goof who transformed into a heartthrob, while Anna was cast as the insecure wife unable to keep up with his unstoppable rise. But was this all just tabloid smoke, or was there a real spark behind the scenes? The tension lingered, and fans started taking sides. No matter the truth, it was becoming clear that the relentless gossip had driven a wedge into an already fragile place in their marriage. Complicating their situation further was the delicate matter of their son Jack's health. Born 9 weeks premature, Jack spent his earliest days in a neonatal intensive care unit, hooked up to wires, monitors, and incubators that dwarfed his tiny body. Doctors even warned Chris and Anna to prepare for the possibility of developmental complications. It was a harrowing experience for any parent, let alone two public figures whose every move was examined. For Anna, these trials seemed to underscore a crucial question. Were they truly a team when it mattered most? She poured her energy into Jack's welfare, while Chris juggled blockbuster commitments. He openly spoke about the heartbreak of seeing his child struggle, but fans couldn't help noticing that his career moves didn't slow down. Of course, financial security is vital for any family, but there's an emotional weight that can become overwhelming when one parent is consistently absent, no matter the reason. The difference between their public persona and private reality started to show. Despite posting adorable family photos and exchanging sweet words during interviews, sources close to them suggest that life behind the scenes was increasingly tense. Anna's insecurities deepened, and Chris, caught up in filming schedules, could only do so much. The question lingered. How do you balance stardom and family when they pull you in opposite directions? That question became more difficult to answer when new controversies threatened to overshadow the heartwarming story of a once happy family. By 2017, the facade was cracking. Fans who once saw Chris and Anna as relationship goals were stunned when the couple jointly announced their legal separation after 8 years of marriage. The statement was short, polished, and heartbreakingly diplomatic. They'd tried hard, for a long time, but now they'd reached the end. What that announcement lacked in detail, tabloids quickly filled with speculation, most of it pointing to alleged infidelity, the emotional fallout from the Jennifer Lawrence rumors, and Chris's rocketing fame. Still, many held out hope for a reconciliation. After all, Hollywood couples often separate and attempt to work things out, especially with children in the picture. But then Chris wasted no time moving on. Merely 3 months after the divorce was finalized, he began dating Katherine Schwarzenegger, daughter of Arnold Schwarzenegger. Their relationship moved at an almost dizzying pace, leading skeptics to wonder if something had been brewing even before the official split. Was Chris so eager to leave the past behind that he jumped headlong into a new chapter without letting dust settle? In the midst of this, Anna tried to keep her pain private. She continued hosting her popular podcast, focusing on comedic roles and forging ahead with her life. Occasionally, she dropped hints about how lonely and unsettling it felt to be single. Again, even though she was later linked to cinematographer Michael Barrett, whom she eventually married. Fans couldn't help but notice that Anna's transition seemed more subdued, while Chris's move to a new romance felt almost jarringly abrupt. Tabloid coverage exploded, painting Chris as a man who left behind the woman who had once stood by him during his lean years, only to embrace a new, glamorous life at the top. Anna tried to stay composed in public, but heartbreak resonates even when you try your best to hide it. If the rumors about infidelity during the Passengers era weren't enough, the speed of Chris's new engagement added fuel to an already blazing fire of speculation. As if their narrative needed more twists, Chris Pratt found himself in hot water again when he took to social media to celebrate Katherine Schwarzenegger for giving him a healthy daughter. On the surface, it might have seemed like a standard expression of gratitude, until people remembered that Chris's first child, Jack, faced significant health challenges from birth. Suddenly, the internet erupted. Commenters pointed out how insensitive it felt for Chris to highlight healthy in a public tribute, almost implying relief that this time his child didn't have complications. Anna's supporters roared back, saying the statement was like a slap in the face to the woman who had gone through the trauma of delivering a premature baby. Accusations ranged from carelessness to outright heartlessness, further tarnishing Chris's good guy image. The outcry forced Chris to issue clarifications, saying he never intended to insult or hurt anyone, especially his own son. Still, the damage was done in the court of public opinion. Where previously fans adored him for being relatable, many now perceived him as tone-deaf. Anna chose not to speak publicly on the issue, although one could imagine how it must have stung. Given how private she remained about the complexities of their marriage, her silence likely spoke volumes. For critics, this was the moment the cracks in Chris Pratt's image became undeniable. The beloved star with the comedic grin and heart of gold persona was showing signs of either arrogance or obliviousness. And for anyone rooting for Anna, that one remark crystallized the alleged difference between the man she once fell for and the person he had become post-fame. Public scrutiny didn't stop there. As Chris continued to celebrate fatherhood in his new marriage, sporting shirts proudly declaring he was a girl dad and posting adorable snapshots of his daughters, fans noticed a conspicuous absence. His son Jack was barely mentioned. This stark gap sparked a wave of criticism that Chris was snubbing Jack, possibly out of shame regarding his health issues, or simply because it was easier to maintain a certain brand image by focusing on his new family. Whenever Chris posted sentimental tributes to the mothers in his life, Faris was conspicuously left out, even though she is Jack's mother, and had been a significant part of Chris's journey to stardom. Some fans tried to defend him, suggesting maybe Chris and Anna had agreed to keep Jack off social media to protect his privacy. Yet others pointed out the inconsistencies, like the fact that Chris happily featured photos of his daughters. Where did that leave Jack? Speculation snowballed into theories that Chris was intentionally distancing himself from reminders of his past life, one that included early career struggles and a child with special needs. Whether these theories were true or not, the conversation around Chris Pratt was shifting fast. Instead of praising him for comedic roles or philanthropic causes, the internet criticized him for alleged insensitivity and possible neglect toward his firstborn. Still, official statements were few. Anna, for her part, remained diplomatically quiet, choosing to share glimpses of her own personal evolution in a series of podcast episodes and public interviews. She hinted that she had experienced suspicion, heartbreak, and frustration in her past relationships, but she never explicitly named Chris. The tension between them, though rarely acknowledged outright, was plain to see for anyone reading between the lines. Over time, Anna Faris has emerged as a new version of herself, open about her mistakes and heartbreaks, reflective on her failed marriages, and determined to give love another chance in a more grounded way. She has mentioned in interviews that she discovered a tendency to suppress her concerns to maintain a supportive facade, a move that ultimately took an emotional toll. Anna also confessed to not feeling comfortable talking about the cracks in her relationship, even with close friends, until it was too late. Chris, meanwhile, focuses on expanding his career with mega franchises and maintaining a robust social media presence celebrating fatherhood and faith. Publicly, he exudes positivity and warmth, rarely delving into the controversies that continue to swirl around his name. He has, on occasion, addressed the rumor that he slighted his son by praising his healthy daughter, emphasizing his love for all of his children. Yet for many, the apology fell short of fully correcting the narrative that he might be neglecting Jack. In the end, both Chris and Anna remarried. She quietly wed cinematographer Michael Barrett, describing her current relationship as far healthier than what she's experienced in the past. Chris's high-profile marriage to Katherine Schwarzenegger has turned him into one half of a Hollywood power couple, though critics insist the specter of his past mistakes continues to follow him. In telling this story, we're reminded that the glitz and glamour of Hollywood rarely reveal the profound complexities behind public smiles and Instagram posts. Anna Faris has shared just enough in her podcast episodes and her memoir to raise questions about how perfect relationships can crumble under fame and insecurity. Meanwhile, Pratt's journey from lovable underdog to criticized star is a cautionary tale in how quickly the public can shift opinions when they sense inauthenticity or a lack of empathy. So how do we piece together the puzzle of Chris, Pratt, and Anna Faris' marriage? Were the rumors about cheating ever substantiated, or did relentless tabloid chatter erode their trust? Did fame fundamentally change Chris, or was Anna already battling deeper personal insecurities that no one else could resolve? The definitive answers remain elusive, locked away behind Hollywood's glossy veneer. Still, one lesson stands out. Fame is a harsh spotlight that magnifies every flaw and breathes life into any rumor. Anna herself admits she sometimes felt she didn't belong in the world Chris had stepped into. For his part, Chris seems to have adopted a forward-focused view, rarely glancing back on what might have gone wrong. If there's a single takeaway, it's that perception can diverge dramatically from reality. Fans once idolized Chris Pratt as the comedic good guy who never forgot his roots, but many now see a more complicated figure, someone who might have overlooked the emotional needs of his wife and child in his race to the top. Whatever your personal stance, their story underscores just how fragile even the most enchanting Hollywood romance can be. We've seen shocking rumors, heartfelt confessions, and quiet heartbreak from two people who once seemed perfectly matched. But that's showbiz, and that's life. The final question is yours to answer. Does Chris Pratt remain the charming leading man you once admired, or do these revelations suggest that behind his affable exterior lies a more unsettling truth? Share your thoughts in the comments because, in Hollywood, the conversation never really ends. Thanks for watching, and remember, every celebrity fairy tale has more than meets the eye. Subscribe for more deep dives into the stories that rock Tinseltown, and drop a comment below. Do you think the rumors carry any weight, or did the media exaggerate a normal Hollywood relationship's ups and downs? Your opinion might just reveal a new layer to this ongoing saga.